Random thought. Be careful of the ugly ducklings you make fun of because they can grow up to be swans.
I don't make fun of ugly ducklings anymore.
Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Well, we are those people, and we've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast, episode 123. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
So, you don't make fun of ugly ducklings, huh?
No.
Never have.
Can't say never, but I think as I've gotten older and matured, I realized you shouldn't do stuff like that, so no.
Right. Well, so that's the thing about it. At times, it's like, there are things that people do as kids, right? And you wonder, does it come back to bite you? And it's not just even as, we're not talking just bullying, but in the sense of there are people that you ignore. But are you wrong for ignoring them because you weren't attracted then? Then they grow up and they're attractive. You're like, wait a minute. Or somebody who was broke and then they make some money and you're like, hey, wait a minute. Are you wrong for this?
I don't think you're wrong for ignoring somebody. I think you're wrong for making fun of somebody. Mm-hmm. But if you're just, hey, it's not my cup of tea, that's not someone I'm going to be friends with or someone I'm attracted to, I see nothing wrong with ignoring them.
Okay, and so here's why we're talking about this, because this thing went viral over the weekend with the Michael B. Jordan and L'Oreal on the red carpet of Creed 3 in Atlanta, right? And here's a bad thing about this, because I think people there's a lot of misinformation that was out there, and people ran with the narrative that was very well misinformed, but it sounded great. It was a great story, right? They're like, oh my God, she bullied him in high school. She didn't. She called him corny in high school, and look at him now. She didn't. Well, she called him corny at some point in time. She didn't. But it was interesting to watch people run with that narrative, and what that told me was that there are people who are still suffering from PTSD from their own trauma of being ignored, because some it doesn't always have to be about bullied, right? Sometimes it's just being, I like you and you didn't like me. What did they say? If you don't want me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Isn't that your favorite saying of all time?
Yes, it's my favorite saying to make fun of all time, 100%. So I totally get that she didn't call him corny personally. Mm-hmm. But my gut tells me that in their youth in high school in Newark in the hood, she cracked some jokes.
She said that though. And here's the thing.
Exactly.
He was 2 grades younger. At what point were you hanging out with anybody that was 2 grades younger than you? So you made fun of the young kids. You did. People made fun of people in school. Like what did Adele Givens say? Oh yeah, when I was in school, y'all made fun of these lips, but now these lips got power.
Well, they do, but I thought in my mind, I'm like, okay, Michael, you've obviously won. Let it go. Mm-hmm. And just move on. They called you corny back then, and it came up on. See, there you're running
with the exact same narrative.
I didn't say she. I said they called you corny back then. I didn't say she did it. I said they. So
don't
they're
fall
not
into
the
that
only
hole.
people who ever said it. But just the fact that it was said on this podcast by someone else, not L'Oreal, let it go. Yeah, you're winning. You're the sexiest man alive. You're in movies. You're producing. You're directing. And sometimes just let your actions do the talking for you, and that's it.
The thing about it was, obviously it bothered him, and this again, a lot of misinformation in the way this was written up in these so-called publications. And I say that because it's like people want to go, oh well, this is a so-called this and this and so-called this and this. Same thing with a lot of these publications, right? And one of them that put it out just kind of tied the narrative of 2 different people, put it into one, and made that new story that everybody has followed and bought into since then. And if a perfect way to understand how misinformation gets around in politics, it's looking at this story, and that's what I see, that misinformation. Take a little truth here, a little truth here, you mix it together, and you've created a whole new truth because the story's that much juicier, right? But you think about this. If you think of people who are called corny or were made fun of, top of the list that came up and was winning. Okay, well, I mean, maybe, okay. When I say this, you're probably going to be like, was he really winning though? I don't even want to say this. Will Smith. Remember this man was making $20 million a movie. I just want to point that out first.
I mean, he was winning for a time until...
Well, look, you don't know what's going on in that man's house.
Got in his head, and that's when he just started to spiral down.
But even Jada Pinkett said that she wouldn't have dated him before, right? It's one of those things that happen. I mean, Russell Wilson. Remember who was that guy? Chandler Jones, I think, not Chandler Jones. Channing on the Pivot podcast. He called Russell Wilson a cornball. Well, Russell Wilson is winning. Russell Wilson, as we round up Black History Month, is the first black athlete to have married a white woman, get his big contract, divorce her, and get him a black woman. That black man's making history.
Yeah, but he didn't get like the black woman that does hair at the hair shop or the nail salon. He got Sierra.
Okay, and Sierra went from Future to Russell Wilson because she wanted some stability. You can't take this thug dude that you think was cool. You want some stability. She got that stability in Russell Wilson. She's living her happy life with this man that people have called a corny dude at the same time. So is it really such a bad word in the first place?
No, it's not. I've been called corny. I don't care. And I know I've never fit that, bad boy, I got that Lil Wayne swag. Never been that guy. I've always spoken like this. Mm-hmm. I didn't raised in the streets, then slowly changed. This has been me. So I've been picked on my whole life. And I think as black people, we picked on each other all the time. It was just part of it. And you just had to have that thick skin and move on. And then now it's like, okay, look at me now. Back when I was working at Sonic, people used to make fun of me. I was a car hop cook at Sonic. Terrible. And I was there for 7 years. Used to call me Sonic the Hedgehog. That was a little nickname. And I was just like, that's all right. But
I'm never going to forget that name now.
Who came through trying to get some free food? Hey, can you hook me up? Yeah. I know you're talking trash, but here's a burger. There's a number one with cheese. Now, go ahead.
Extra seasoning on it.
But it's just not that big a deal to be called corny. And it's like, but you're not. And maybe he is. Because I think they were talking about him dating Lori Harvey. Mm-hmm. And the date that he took her on, Valentine's Day, and they were just like, that's corny.
But was it though? I mean, it really wasn't a bad date. See, here's the problem I have in that sense, right? Even for you think about the narrative when we were coming. It was, I want a man with Timbs so he can be standing up by the side of the bed and really hitting it, as opposed to the man in the church socks. And I'm like, ladies, what are y'all talking about? That's. Are you even hearing yourself in this, right? But that was some of the narrative that was out there. And that's when people think of the straight-laced guy, the guy that's, actually studying in school, the guy that's passing classes, that can actually speak proper English, create actual full sentences. That's the corny guy. Well, again, who's really winning, who's really losing at the end of this, right?
Corny is in the eye of the beholder, right? If somebody might think it's corny, it's totally okay for them to have that. And there's no way to say, no, that's not true. He's not corny. Who cares?
Right.
He just called you corny. They didn't call you the N-word, Michael. So be good. But corny, that's the worst that you got called in high school? Walking around with your headshots, that's the worst that you got? Oh, it had to be tough.
Again, there you go with that same narrative. He did not get called that in high school.
I didn't say that. Apparently, he probably might have. But let's say he never got called corny.
He said apparently he probably might have.
They made fun of him for walking around with his headshots. Mm-hmm. Would you say that's true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what? He was walking around the hood with headshots, and look where it took you. You blew up.
Here's a very good point. And here's the thing about it, because even when he was in school, he was on Days of Our Lives, and he was on TV. So it wasn't like, but where people remember him from, and when they look at him now, they go, oh, okay, yeah, oh no, that's one of the sexiest men alive. They weren't saying that when most of us saw him, because we weren't watching Days of Our Life, we didn't see him. But when you saw him on The Wire, you weren't going, oh yeah, that's the sexiest teen alive. Oh, he's going to be the sexiest man. Nobody said that. Nobody. Right. There are people who were like, women who were like, oh my God, that was him? So stop acting like this is something so crazy, because there are people you see when they're younger. And if you look back at some of these people that you are drooling over right now, at their pictures from when they were younger, they probably look like some of the people you were making fun of.
I just say, just let it go, Michael. And here's my thing about it. I felt it was petty for Michael to be as big as he is, knowing it's going to pick up this much traction over something so little.
Was it smart? Because the movie comes out this week, and this gives him a lot of traction over this time. And he's got all these people trying to, they're talking about him. This is his directorial debut, right? This movie's got to do well. You got a lot of steam heading into opening weekend. Maybe this was something that he's kind of like, you know what? We should take advantage of this.
So at the expense of smearing L'Oreal's reputation and misconstruing what she said and what someone else said on the podcast, you're going to have all these, because everybody was giving her the flack. Yep. She was getting message. It wasn't like her podcast was bad. They're going after her. So What you're saying is, at her expense, he's going to use this as leverage to get more traction for his directing debut. Now, that makes him corny. He did that? Yeah, he is corny if that was his intent. I just think that maybe he remembered, still was a little pissed about it. Mm-hmm. And I think he could have just let it go, knowing he's going to pick up this traction. But if he used this as a way to build more following for the movie, that's kind of jacked up.
It would be, if that's the case. And we're not saying it is the case, but if that was the case, so be it.
More power to him. I'm like, Michael, you're winning. Regardless of what they said about you on a podcast a few months ago, what they said about you back in Newark when you were walking around with the headshots. Who cares? Here's
the thing, though. And I know we've had people who've called him out for that. The people have been supporting him on that. They get your get back. But have you ever had that point when you're like, you know what? Look at me now. And maybe that was his look at me now moment. You said something. Look at me now. Because again, this is his big moment. He's not only starring in a movie, he's directing a movie. Is that what that is for him? That look at me now moment.
But I like that. You don't need the look at me now moment. This isn't his first acting and directing debut. He's been in stuff. He's been a name. He was in freaking Wakanda. We get it. You were talented. You were good. So I don't think it's a look at me now moment. Now, have I had a look at me now moment? Sure. But I didn't rub it in the person's face. It was like, yeah, here I am. I'm doing this. I'm a lot more successful than what you predicted I'd be, because you used to tell me that I would never amount to anything besides working in a restaurant and cleaning, bathrooms. And here I am. But
working in a restaurant, cleaning bathrooms?
No. I work at a company and I lead a team of people that hires people to clean bathrooms.
See, that full 360. I love
it. Yeah. So I'm doing pretty well for myself. And it's kind of like when you go to your high school reunion. Mm-hmm. You go to a high school reunion because you just want to see how some people turned out. And you're always curious about that person who was the mean girl, the snob, the jock who thought they were all that back in high school. And you see them 10, 12 years later. They're like, yeah, I've been going to the junior college, just kind of working on some classes. And I got 5 kids by 5 different men. And I'm just trying to get better. All the different stuff. You're just like, wow, you were all that, at least you thought you were. And then life happened. So there's no point to even say anything. You can't walk up to them and be like, aha, that's what you get.
Should have went out with me that one time I asked. We should have gone homecoming together.
See, if you'd have been with me, you wouldn't have gained 300 pounds. Now look at you. Look at you.
That's very specific. Is there someone in mind?
No. No, not at all. A lot of people didn't want me in high school. I wasn't that kid. I didn't get better until I got into college. But high school, I was not.
That was better? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that was a better version of me that you met in college, because back then I was super nerdy, like my polo, my shirt tucked in, like Urkel. That was more me.
Your shirt was tucked in college? What are you talking about?
No, I pulled it out a little bit so it could be a little loose. It wasn't a tight tuck like I did in school. It was a little bit more loose. I was a little bit more laid back.
Oh, my God. For the love of sports, there was a lot of stuff happening this weekend in the boxing world, and not real boxing. I mean, Floyd Mayweather had an exhibition match, and on that undercard was Tommy from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta versus Natalie Nunn. I think she was a Bad Girls Club or whatever the hell that crap is, and that was as bad as it was expected to be. But then Sunday night, and I got to give it up to Jake Paul for the fact that they're able to go ahead and draw viewership on what is considered an off night in boxing, because boxing is usually on Saturday nights, right? Or for the lower fights, they do them on Friday nights. And they're like, you know what? No, we're going to show you we have the power and we have the draw and we can make money. And finally, this fight that had been postponed at least twice before, I think, finally happened. Jake Paul, after all the scrutiny of beating old man from a different sport, in this one sport he says he's good at, he wants to win a championship in, he finally fights a real boxer who is undefeated, and he goes by the name of Fury. Not Tyson, but Tommy.
Yeah, and you're more of a boxing fan than I am, but
yes,
I think what happened with this fight is, you look at what the Paul brothers have done. You can't knock their hustle. And the attention, stuff that they did, I mean, good for you. You built something.
Yeah.
But he needed to fight a real boxer at his level. And so you had a lot of people wanting him to lose and get knocked out because they're just tired of hearing him. It's like he's like the Tom Brady of boxing without any championships.
No.
Because everybody hated Tom
Stop
Brady,
it.
wanted Tom. No, here's my point. My point is, people always wanted Tom Brady losing the Super Bowl, except for Patriots fans, because they hated him winning all the time. So Jake has been winning these fights against unqualified boxers, and so now he has a real boxer. Like, okay, we want him to lose. I was just hoping for just a decent fight, and it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't like Holyfield and Sugar Ray, but it
wouldn't be.
Not
Tommy
Holyfield,
Fury
Sugar
is.
Ray, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Tommy Fury is not Tyson Fury. He's not a great boxer. I've watched him before, and he's built much better than Tyson Fury. He's built to be a model, right? Not so much a boxer. And I will say this though, I didn't watch the fight. I didn't order the fight. I didn't watch it. I watched clips on Twitter, like most people did, and. That's the best I've ever seen Tommy Fury look, because I've seen him fight before and went, Jake Paul's going to kick his ass. And you're going to be the reason that Jake Paul gets validated as an actual boxer. Luckily, it didn't happen.
Tommy has that jab. And if you take the jab out, I think Jake had a chance because it went the distance. Jake did get knocked out, but Jake had no answer for that jab. And I think Tommy outboxed him. He didn't outpower him, or he just outboxed him strategically, which is what a skilled boxer is going to be able to do. Think about Floyd Mayweather. He doesn't knock everybody out, but he's going to beat you with skill. And that's what Tommy did against Jake. So hopefully it's a humbling lesson for Jake Paul. I'm sure there will be a rematch, and Jake's going to talk a whole lot of trash. Did you hear his brother in the middle of the fight? They were interviewing Logan, and he's like, hey, Tommy, if you're listening, pretty much saying that, you're looking winded, my brother's going to knock you out, and just talking trash, which is what they do, and they're good at it.
And that's the thing, I don't listen to anything Logan Paul says anyway, especially when he tried to go at Floyd. Like, if Floyd really wanted to knock Logan Paul out, he could have. He didn't, but he could have, because here's the difference, right? And they talk about real boxers and why they want him in the ring with a real boxer. Tommy's jab is not the greatest jab, but it's way faster than what Jake Paul's accustomed to seeing coming. I watched one of those jabs. It's like, yeah, he never saw it coming. He just got, oh, what the hell just, what happened?
Is his brother in here too? Oh, the ref. Where is it?
Is the ref punching me too? Ref, stop. Because he just kept getting tagged with it. You're right. That's what happened. And that's all you need. And if you catch somebody coming in at the right time with a jab, you can knock them out too. But it was smart. Don't get reckless and get caught, because one thing Jake Paul has is some power. Mm-hmm. So kudos to Tommy for a job well done, because I'll be honest, I had absolutely no faith in Tommy Fury to win that fight. If I had to put money down, I was about to say I'd have been Drake, but there's no way I was going to put $400,000 down on that fight, okay? There's no way to put $400 down on that fight. You know what? There's probably no way to put 400 cents down on that fight. But you get my point.
You know, you got to admire these people with their gambling habits, because Drake drops big money on stuff that I'm like, why?
Because he can.
And because he can. But I'm just thinking to myself, dude, that's wow. You know, look at Mattress Mac. You know, the money he would drop, you know, for the Astros. But yet it would pay off and he would win, because I think Mattress Mac is pretty smart. But Drake just drops money on stuff, and it seems like he loses more than he wins.
You know, when you have that much, and what they say, when you gamble, don't only gamble what you can afford to lose. So if you can afford to lose $400,000, because you're like, you know what, well, I'll go do a show and make $1.5 million. All right, let's go. I'll make it back.
I don't think I'll ever be at a place in my life, even if I won billions on the lottery, where I'm going to gamble $400,000.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but you know.
Yeah, that $400,000 you can lose in just an 8-round fight. That's 2 or 3 houses for people and families.
But that's why
I just look at it like that just doesn't make sense. If you're going to buy something for yourself, you could buy a super expensive car, and it's your toy. You're going to keep it in the garage. Okay, I get going big on that, because you're going to use it. Mm-hmm. You lose $400,000. You're not using it. It's not going to anything. Doesn't appreciate.
If you're going to gamble on yourself. That's what I always say.
So Drake should have went in and fought Tommy Fury and put $400,000 on himself?
Probably could have won. Probably had a better chance. Well, he had a better chance of beating him. You know, it's funny, though, especially talking about the Drake thing, because at the press conference after, this is where as much as I'm not a Jake Paul fan, I give Jake Paul kudos for understanding the business of this in the ring, saying, you know what, let's run it back. Let's get that rematch, which Tommy Fury is going to do, because there's no fight he gets after this that's going to pay him what fighting Jake Paul is going to do. But Jake Paul, even at the podium, when someone says, so did you hear about the Drake curse? You think it was Drake's fault why you lost? Because he bet $400,000 on you to win, and he goes, oh, Drake bet $400,000 on me? Well, you know, good. But no, that's probably nothing to him, because he's won a lot of money betting on me before. You know what I mean? And I just thought that was a great way, instead of trying to find excuses. It's just like, hey, you know what? Let's have fun while we're at it, because we're going to do this again. I'm going to make even more money.
So if they rematch, do you think Tommy trains harder so he can actually knock him out? Or do you think Tommy's going to go in cocky and then Jake's going to actually win the next one?
Tyson Fury's not going to let Tommy go in cocky. And Tyson Fury understands, I've got your number, and I'm going to beat you, because he's done it with Deontay Wilder literally 3 times, even though the first one was called a draw. So in that space, I think Tyson Fury, because he said, if Tommy Fury loses this fight, we're going to disown him from the family. So when you put that kind of stuff down, I was like, okay, so what's he going to be? Tommy, just Tommy? Was that
Tommy F.
Tommy F. Because he wasn't going to be Fury no more.
Yeah.
Tommy Y.
Yeah. Tell me, Tommy Y. I had to do it.
Oh, no. Don't do it again. Hey, don't forget, Wednesday we are back at 10 o'clock, 9 Central, for that Married at First Sight recap. And then Friday, we need to double check and make sure there's actually going to be an actual episode this week, because Ready to Love surprised us and there was no episode this week. They just did the 100th episode celebration, right?
Right.
Yeah. So We'll be back for that on Friday at what's that going to be? 9:30? No, 9:15, 8:15 Central. Yeah,
Eastern, 8:15 Central.
Right. And then right back here next week for episode 124.
I'm so glad we had a little break from Ready to Love.
I'm sure you are.
I'm sitting there, I have my notes, I turn it on, I'm just like, then I'm like, wait a minute, what are they?
Who are these people?
Who are these people? And I'm like, calling you, I'm like, hey, I don't think we have to record.
Watch it be all like, no, it came on after that. It was episode 101, immediately after.
Well, we're going to miss an episode. We're just going to skip to the good part. How's that?
Hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you found on the internet. We'll talk about it on the regular show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.